The latest CBI charge sheet gives us a much clearer picture of how investigators say the NEET paper leak happened, and the alleged method was surprisingly simple. Small pieces of paper. The CBI says chemistry expert P.V. Kulkarni copied 135 NEET questions onto tiny handwritten slips. Another expert marked passages in an NCERT textbook to remember questions. A third wrote short notes after work. Think about that for a moment. No hack, no leaked database. Mostly pen, paper, and memory. So how did they get access to the questions? The charge sheet filed so far does not name an NTA official as an accused. Instead, the CBI points to subject experts brought in for confidential exam work, people who were already allowed to see questions before the exam. And the agency says some could see more of the final paper than they should have. The CBI also found some surprisingly basic security gaps. Experts were allegedly not regularly checked when they entered or left the confidential section. CCTV footage was kept for only around 20 to 25 days. By the time the CBI investigation began, investigators say the useful footage was already gone. But getting the questions out was only the beginning. They still had to reach students without leaving an obvious trail. At first, the network stayed small and mostly offline. Then someone made the leak easier to spread. And that may have created the trail investigators needed. To understand how, go back to May 3rd, exam day. About 22.8 lakh candidates were registered for NEET. The security looked serious. GPS tracked question paper vehicles, CCTV, frisking and biometric checks. The exam went ahead. But within days, NTA said it had received information about possible malpractice and sent the matter to central agencies. On May 12th, it cancelled the exam. The CBI registered its case the same day. And that left investigators with a basic question. If the exam centers were so heavily protected, where had the questions actually leaked from? The first clear answer came from chemistry. On May 15th, the CBI said P.V. Kulkarni had access to the questions through his role in the exam process. The agency says selected students came to special classes at his Pune home before the exam. Kulkarni dictated questions, answer choices, and correct answers, the CBI says. The students wrote them into notebooks. After the exam, investigators compared those notebooks with the real NEET paper. The CBI says the questions matched exactly. And chemistry wasn't the only subject. The next day, the agency announced a similar route for biology. It said expert Manisha Mandher had access to botany and zoology questions, with selected students again writing questions into notebooks and marking textbooks. Then came physics. By May 27th, the CBI said it had traced leaked questions from chemistry, biology, and physics. Different subjects, different people, but the same crucial advantage: access before exam day. The early method was quiet. Private classes, handwritten notes, marked textbooks, small groups of students, no single digital file spreading everywhere. Charge sheet reporting points to money as one possible motive. Strong results could also make a tuition or coaching class look more successful and attract more students. But handwritten notebooks don't scale very well. If the questions were going to reach many more people, someone needed a cleaner version, a reconstructed paper. The CBI case says Manisha Wagmer used notebooks from the special classes to reconstruct a larger version of the paper. Now the questions could be typed, printed, and sent much farther. But every time the paper reached someone new, it could leave another clue. A phone number, a message, a contact, even a building entry record. And one of the strangest clues involved something completely ordinary. A watch. A parent messaged Kulkarni asking for his address, so a watch could be sent to him. That message alone proved very little, but investigators could compare it with other records. Residential entry data, phone connections, and WhatsApp information linked to students from the special classes. Now the network started becoming visible. The CBI says reconstructed material moved through more people and reached Rajasthan. Some of it was presented as highly likely or mock test material. A PDF was also allegedly circulated to hostel students before the test. And that's where the trade-off became clear. The wider the questions traveled, the more connections they could leave behind. Investigators could follow those connections backward, from students to messages and visits to coaching links and middlemen, and eventually to people who had access before the exam. Making the leak easier to spread may also have made it easier to trace. The May exam was cancelled, and NEET was held again on June 21st. NTA says almost 20 lakh candidates appeared at 5,140 centers in India and abroad. Almost 2 million people had to go through the examination process again. By then, the story had moved into the streets. Students protested in Delhi and elsewhere. One demand at the Delhi protests was the resignation of Education Minister Dharmendra Pradhan. On July 25th, Pradhan stepped down. The president accepted his resignation, and Pralhad Joshi was given charge of the Education Ministry. That resignation was political fallout, not evidence in the criminal case, but it shows how far the consequences had traveled from those small pieces of paper. On July 28th, the CBI filed its first charge sheet against 13 accused. A Delhi fast-track court took the filing on record. The prosecution says its case includes hundreds of witnesses and documents, along with digital analysis, handwriting opinions, and expert analysis of the leaked questions. The filing and its attachments run to roughly 20,000 pages, but a charge sheet is not a conviction. It is the prosecution's case. The accused can challenge the evidence, and the court still has to decide what is proved. As of August 9, 2026, the case is continuing before the fast-track court. There has been no conviction. The most important thing these new findings change is where we look at the security problem. On exam day, NEET had GPS-tracked vehicles, CCTV, frisking, and biometric checks. But those protections come late in the chain. According to the CBI's case, some questions had already left the confidential process before exam day. You can protect the vehicle carrying the paper. You can watch the exam center. You can check the candidate walking in. But if a question has already left through someone trusted earlier in the chain, all of that security is protecting something that has already been compromised. And there is a second lesson in the investigation itself. The alleged leak was hardest to see when it was small, physical, and close. Once it became useful enough to spread, it also became easier to follow. That is what the new CBI findings add to the story. Not just that NEET was compromised, but a much clearer picture of where the questions may have escaped and how investigators found their way back. If this helped you understand the case, like, share, and subscribe.